Today we are going to be working on advanced body angles. So we have done the beginner tutorial for body angles in which we covered the simplified forms. And in this one we are going to be covering all of the forms, all of the advanced stuff. So these are the body forms that we are going to be covering today. We have torso X, torso Y, torso Z, hips X, hips Z, position X, position Y, and position Z. It's a lot of forms, but we are going to try to get through this relatively quickly. So the first thing you will need is all of these parameters. So what we're looking at is the input parameters, which is body X, body Y, body Z, position X, position Y, and position Z. And as for the output parameters that we want is torso X, torso Y, torso Z, hips X, hips Z, lean X, lean Y, and lean Z. Torso and hips are -30 to 30, while the leans are -10 to 10. Okay, first we want to start with the torso, which is relatively easy to do. So I already made a deformer for the torso angle. So in it is just the standard torso without anything else. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bind this to torso X, and on the input, you do not want to bind anything on the input because we're going to be using that as physics input. All of the angles we're going to do is going to be bound to physics. Okay, so we are going to do the same trick as we did in the basics tutorial. So I'm going to speed through this. And for the mapping, we want torso X. And for the Y direction, I'm gonna go lean Z. And this is going to make sense. So we want to add the torso angle to the object. And I am going to change this to, yes, 10 degrees by 10 degrees. We are going to update the keyforms. So what that does is it gives us a plane of rotation. And this is going to be a base to start working from. Now this is a little bit strong. So we are going to change that to maybe 5. Gonna update that. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And this is going to be the lean forward and lean backwards. So we've got a good base to work from now. And we are going to ignore the lean Z and just focus on the torso X right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the layers that are sticking out from the body, which would be the bust in this case, right? So let's get that. I'm gonna try to speed through it. Okay, reflect motion, see how that looks. And as you can probably see, I have glued down the shoulders. We're going to be fixing that. Okay, so arm left, not arm right. And the reason for that is that it's her left. So this is arm right because it's her right. So we're gonna fix the arms. So when she moves this way, we want to move it up. And I need to fix the glue on that, but just bear with me. And then when she moves this way, we're gonna rotate in a little bit and down. And that's how the arm kind of moves with the rotation there. And we gotta do something about that glue because it's a little bit harsh. And it's only connected here. I'm not connecting that all the way. And this is essentially torso X. And what we want to do now is, and this step is actually important. I've been messing around, but this step is actually important. We're gonna select the bottom of the model. Control Shift C, Control Shift V. And that way, anything below the hips does not move. We do not want movement below the hips because we're just working on torso. Okay, now torso Y is going to be incredibly simple. So we're gonna make a new deformer for this. And we're gonna put this on torso Y. And when she looks up, so I actually want the arms in there. Okay, so when she looks up, we want the shoulders to drop and the chest to rise. And this is just torso Y. We're gonna go with the big Y movements on position Y. This is just the torso. Then when she looks down, we raise the shoulders and we drop the chest. Gonna make sure the ribbon stays kind of in the same place. We do not want too much ribbon movement here. And this is looking up and down. This is what her chest is doing, her chest and shoulders. And if you do this in real life, or you have someone else do it while you observe, you will see that this is pretty accurate. It's an exaggerated version of it, but this is pretty accurate to what your body does when you look up and down. So that's why we're on torso Y here. Okay, now speeding through torso Z. So what we're gonna be doing for torso Z is she's going to lean left and right. It's that simple. So we are taking everything above the skirt. And we're gonna say this is torso Z. Now that we have our deformer, we're gonna bind it to torso Z. And then what I like to do personally is I like to select the top of that with the brush tool. Shortcut is B, by the way. And then we rotate. Make sure that's positioned properly. And this is the easiest way to do this. I don't know if I can reflect motion on this. I can. Good, great. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to select the bottom because I saw it deform a little bit too far down. So we're gonna copy and paste. Control Shift C and Control Shift V. Okay. Now I'm gonna take the arms and just kind of adjust those a little bit. And that is looking good. Now, before we get into hips, I'm going to save this. Very important, save every 5 minutes. And then we're gonna go into physics settings. And she already has all of the head movement, but none of the body movement. So we're gonna say torso X. And I have a preset for this, kind of. It's kind of a preset. Body physics, but I want reaction speed to be 0.4. Convergence, I'm gonna say 1.5. Okay, So we want to add a body X. And this is going to be angle 100% effective. And I want to make this minus 60 to 60. Okay, then for the output settings, we want to add torso X. So we're gonna swing this around, get the maximum output, and then increase it, and then lower it. Because that's how we do. And as you can see, it has a little bit of a delayed bounce back on it. Now we got the torso X in. And we're gonna duplicate that. And we're gonna say torso Y. Input settings is gonna be body Y. Output settings is gonna be torso Y. And you can see it's moving the chest and shoulders on the Y position and not doing much else at the moment. But that's okay, because we have a lot more parameters to go. So we're gonna say torso Z. And then this is gonna be body Z. And that's gonna be torso Z. And now you can leave it like this. But what I like to do is I like to reflect it. So this is what this is doing. And now we have the torso movements. Okay. Now what we're gonna be moving on to is hips. What we're going to be doing for the hips is I kind of want the torso in it. So you know what? We're getting the entire body. I can't do that. Can I? I can't. Can't do that. Let me figure out what I'm doing here. This skirt is throwing me for a loop. It's a very pretty skirt, but it is throwing me for a loop here. So what I don't want in this is the arms. If I throw this in torso Z, how does that look? Not great, not great, but we can fix it. We can fix her. This is fine, this is fine. You know what, this is fine. Okay. We're gonna keep the skirt here because I want to select the torso with this as well. So we're gonna say this is hips. Great. So now what we're gonna do for the hips X is we want to rotate. We are rotating hips. Okay, cool. So I like that rotation. So what we're gonna do now, bear with me. So we're gonna throw this over here. Why are the arms in there? Hold. Why are the arms in there? We don't want the arms in there. Let's try this. That certainly is better. Okay, so we want the hips to swing out. Rotate and swing. Maybe I'll swing to the other side, actually. So what if I swing this to the other side, but still have it rotated to this side? I actually kind of like that. I have to fix the top, obviously, but... Okay, you know what? Kind of like that. Kind of like that. I definitely know what I'm doing, by the way. Alright, and then we're gonna reflect motion on that. So now we're gonna grab the legs. And we want to grab one leg at a time. We want to bind those to the hips. And that goes out as we swing this way. And when we swing the other way, we go in. I don't think we need to go down though, so... We swing out and in. We want to make sure that is smooth all the way. The toes do not move. Toe movement, not good. Now we take the other leg, and for the other leg we want to give it a little bit more of a subtle movement. So we're gonna bend this in. And when we go to this side, we bend it out. There we go. And this is how the hips swing on the X. Now we want the hip swing on the Z. And this is gonna be a little bit more dramatic. I do like dramatic hip swings. So what we're gonna do is this. We're swinging up. However, we want to make sure that the top does not move. So, Control Shift C, Control Shift V. And then we reflect motion on that. And then we Control 4, which is synthesize corners. We're gonna do that. Now we want the legs as well. So, when the hips swing this way, because the hip is raised to one side, she's probably gonna go on her tippy toes on that side to get the leg up, right? So that's what we're gonna do. And now when she goes down, because the hip is all the way down, she would probably bend the knee a little bit here. And now we do the same on this leg. Okay, so we want to select both legs and then again Control 4 to synthesize corners. So now that we have the corners, as you can see, the hips are doing their thing without the upper body moving at all. So we're gonna save again, and before we go into the lean, we're gonna go into physics settings and we are going to add hips X. I don't think I have a hip swing here, do I? I do not. I do not have a hip swing. I'm gonna have to do that manually. Unless it's body custom. That might be it. Hold up. Not gonna be that though. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add input. We're gonna say this is body X 100. I don't know if I want to put this on angle. I think I'm gonna put this on angle. Okay, so we're gonna do this minus 60 to 60. And then we're gonna be adding hips X. You can see it moving a little bit, but we want to really get the output going. What if I reflect this? Okay. You know what? I think the reflected version is actually better. Okay. So now we're gonna say duplicate hips Z. And we are gonna say body Z. And the output hips Z. There we go. Now these are some basic angles. And now we are gonna move on to position. And position is fun. Position is fun to work on. For this, we want to take the entire body and we are gonna say position. And this is gonna be the left and right lean, if that makes sense. We are leaning left and right with our entire body, not just our torso. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bind that And then do this little trick in modeling, temporary deformer, and then distort. And we're gonna drag her over. And then reflect motion on that. Now you could leave it here if you so desire. Personally, I want to anchor the feet because I do not like floating feet. Okay, you could leave it here. However, you could also make this into a step. I have a step toggle tutorial somewhere on my channel. And if this makes it into a tutorial video, I will probably link that right here. I am not gonna put a step in. That is not something that I'm going to do right now. But, you know, if you want the step, it would have to be on lean X for it to look good. Now, lean Y is basically just her body going up and down. That's it. That's what lean Y does. Lean Y is the bounce. So, we are going to grab the torso Z, and we're gonna put that on lean Y. And now we drag her up. And then on the -10, we drag her down. And that's what that does. And now we want to have the legs. We want to make new deformers for that. Lean leg left. We're gonna make one for this one as well, which is gonna be lean leg right. And that is how lean Y works. Very simple, very bouncy. Now the last one, lean Z. And this is the famous lean in and out. Now I like to keep it subtle personally. I know a lot of people like to go for like the crazy leans, but we're keeping it subtle. We're keeping it classy. I think if you want a crazy lean, you gotta make it a toggle. For the subtle leans, you can make it in tracking. Okay, so we already have the torso leaning in and out. However, let me select that. We want to adjust this a little bit. Because when we lean out, it goes too far down. So we want to push that up. And then we push this down. And this is the lean forwards, and that's the lean backwards. And you can already kind of see that take shape. What we don't want is for the bottom to move. Hips need to stay where they are. So we're gonna anchor that. I need to get the head involved. So let's say head lean, 21 by 21. Okay, so below the rotation deformer on the head, we want to make another deformer and call it head size. And this is very straightforward on what it does. When we lean in, we want the head to be bigger. And if your character has long hair, you are going to need to adjust the hair, just so you know. And when she leans back, the head will be smaller. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration. Nope, it's actually good. Now we want the arms. And we drag those down. However, we're gonna temporary deformer, and then we're gonna go perspective. We're gonna increase the width of that. When she leans in. And then when she leans back, gotta do perspective. We're gonna make the shoulders a little bit smaller. Okay. And this is the lean. Now let's see how this looks in physics. If you're not sure about a movement, the best thing to do is just put it in those physics, see how it moves, and then decide if you need to change something. Okay, let's start putting in the leans. So let's start with lean X and put this on angle. I don't think I have the cursor tracking active for that. I do not. Okay, so we want to take input position X, and this is one that you have to add manually. We cover that in the beginning. So we want to add a position X on angle at 100%. And I want to do this -30 to 30 on the angle. And for output settings, we are too far down. Lean X. We want to swing this around, get the maximum output, and then increase. Let's say 15. And this is how that looks. We won't see this very often because it takes a lot for the tracking to register one way or the other. That is the lean X. And I'm actually going to take that off of the cursor tracking, because you rarely ever see that when you're actually tracking. Okay, but we duplicate that and we say lean Y. And we change this to position Y. And the output we change to lean Y. And there's the bounce. And we duplicate that and we say lean Z. And we say this is position Z. And lean Z. And as you can see, we are doing a subtle lean here. And this is the full range of motion here. Ooh, I spot a mistake. Here, right here. Here's the mistake. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. It's probably the torso Z. It's probably the torso Z. Let's try that. Try to synthesize those corners. Yes, it was. Takes a little bit of experience to know exactly where you messed up. But I spotted that. And this is the full range of motion.